We can divide the many worlds around us into either real or virtual. How these two can merge together has become one of the key questions of the 21st century. Whether it's a head-up display in a pair of glasses showing you the way home, or a group of people meeting up online as VR avatars of themselves, we are constantly fusing ourselves into these different worlds. Roborace is launching into this blend with their own metaverse. New for Season Beta, Roborace has the ability to create virtual objects, events, and conditions on track, which the real-life autonomous cars will have to adjust to whilst racing. These might be walls to avoid or tokens to collect. They could be weather conditions the cars must consider, or boost points that allow a real-life increase in speed. They can even be virtual cars suddenly appearing on track to compete against. The groundbreaking element of this all-new software platform is that it allows you, the viewer, to see these virtual objects and conditions on track together with the race cars in real time. So you're able to see what the AI driver is experiencing and how it chooses to react. The next stage of the metaverse is allowing you, the audience, to challenge the AI drivers. You'll be able to place the virtual objects, change the conditions, and directly influence the competition. You can play the race.
Hi, and welcome to Roborace, the only real-size racing robots championship in this part of the galaxy, where robots are becoming alive and they really go wild. Some of them become superheroes, some of them crash into walls, lots of fun. Today we're going to talk about amazing things, sci-fi, designs, robots, supercars, movies, or even a racing vacuum cleaner. We have a very special guest today, a legendary Hollywood designer, Daniel Simon. Hello, Daniel, how are you? Hello, hello.
Is that already starting?
Oh yeah,
No, I'm on.
I can hear you now.
Oh,
How are you
don't
today,
trick me in
sir?
this. Like, my hope was I don't have to do this "can you hear me" thing today, and you just tricked me into it.
Yeah, yeah, you have to.
You never stop to amaze me with your introductions, Jacek. Yes,
Do you like it?
good to be here. Thank you. It's a good
Super
motivator
cool.
for the day.
Yeah, you are lucky, you are in Los Angeles where the weather is always amazing, 30 degrees every day, never rain. I am in London. I look around and I see only rain and cloudy. They from time to time they say in the news that there is a heat of wave coming to the UK.
Hmm.
So people are super happy. They're waiting for it, and it never happens. It's always great. You don't have this problem, so I need to be super excited to talk to someone from Los Angeles.
I can only be creative with palm trees and sunshine. That's how it works for me.
Yeah, I'm jealous. Okay, super cool. Daniel, you have created so great designs like vehicles from Tron, from Captain America, Prometheus, Oblivion. I can watch, to be honest, I can watch Prometheus and Oblivion twice a week. It's a super cool movie, and design is such an important part of all these concepts how to define, how to show the future. Uh,
Hmm.
it also became very important for us as for Roborace. Roborace is not just a boring piece of cables and computers connected to four wheels that are going around the circuit. It's just very, very beautiful piece of design made by you, and thanks to you, thanks for that. It's super, super cool. What I wanted to tell you that today we have with us young designers who are very much inspired by your work and by Roborace, and they also had designed a couple of interesting designs, and they would like to talk about the future of designs, about how does it work, how does it look like, when you think about the robot, what actually you need to consider when you design a vehicle like that.
Hmm.
First, we will have three of them. First, our guest will be Alan from Netherlands. Alan, are you there?
Yeah,
Hi, Alan. How
yes.
are you? I have.
Hi.
You are from
Good.
Netherlands. I have
And
chosen
you?
a very, very. Yeah, I'm good. I've chosen a very special background for Netherlands. Is it appropriate?
I cannot see any background yet.
You don't see my
I
background?
only see. Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's the stereotype Netherlands background, they say.
Exactly. Look, you should feel like
Yeah,
home. All right, so
that's where you get
man, you
creative
have
from.
created, yeah. So man, you have created such a great vehicle. What is this? Tell us about it. Like who you are, what you're doing, what is that?
Yeah, so I'm a car design student from the Netherlands. I graduated last year, and this is a project that I did after my graduation to just as a personal project for the brand Polestar. And I was thinking that it could be nice to really emphasize the electric performance for Polestar. And the main question that I had for the project was how to win time in pit stops. And I wanted to design a modular car, so each of the main components of the car are easily switchable. Like in Formula, for example, in Formula One now, you have tire replacements in what is it, 1.9 seconds. But if the car breaks down, you're out of the race. So what if, for example, the battery needs to be swapped, and you can just swap the complete module on the rear or on the front? It can save a lot of time in endurance racing, for example. So that was the core idea of the car. Yeah, and I wanted to also try to have to capture the Polestar language. It was done at early 2019, so it was early 2020. So just before the concept cars came out of Polestar, and I tried to envision kind of a future design language for them as well.
Okay, and
Yeah.
why Polestar?
I really like the Volvo Polestar brand, and I think it's interesting how they are separating the two brands right now, and each of them have actually a really strong brand identity, and that was interesting for me to analyze that and to come up with my own take on it.
Super, super cool. What do you think, Daniel, about this design?
Well, we're live, right?
Yes, yes.
Very nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you, Alan. And thank you for joining this project. It's the first time I'm seeing
Likewise.
this. The quality of work is phenomenal. You modeled this yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah. What software did you use?
I used Speedform at the time because it was like a plugin from Alias. And it was just before I got to know Blender and the possibilities. So afterwards, I did some projects in Blender, but this one was still Speedform. And it's also an amazing software, I think. And it
So
really helps
maybe.
help.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. I think your work has such high quality, Alan, that I think you heard so many compliments already from many people. So I think I want to use the time maybe to say some critical things, because I think they're also very, they're way more helpful, I think, than positive things. So this looks fantastic. Spontaneous reactions would be. And we're talking about an autonomous car, right, for our Roborace Metaverse. So my first reaction is it looks like a passenger car, like the cabin you have. And there's what's the concept behind the bubble where you would expect the driver?
Yeah, so like you see, it's now a driving configuration. So it's still with the driver inside. But
Oh, I see. Okay.
what you could do is kind of the cell that is inside could be replaced by an autonomous module. That's because it's because of the modularity. So you can switch it for even between different race categories, drivers or non-drivers.
Okay. And you're playing a visual gag here, right, with a mid-engine internal combustion style rear glass, but it's obviously not, right? It's like an electronics or some technology.
Yeah.
So these things are a lot of fun. So you going obviously around a way where you want a link to the past in a product that paths the way to the future. So I'm with you on that partially. I think if we create futuristic objects, it's up to us designers. How much do we carry over from the past to bring the public with us? right? There needs to always somewhat be an anchor so we can maybe relate to it. My spontaneous reaction, there's maybe too much of an historic anchor in your design for something like Roborace. Our job here is to be absolutely disruptive with this adventure, and our challenge as creators is to think so much outside the box that it's almost painful to ourselves, and not and try to, how to explain that, it's too comfortable, I think, to draw inspiration and too much link to current designs and past designs. So it's a bit too conventional for me from the look. It looks, if you made this car right now, it would look very cool, no doubt. But since it's a concept car you made, I think I would push it way further, because if you had to make it, you still have to come back 10 or 20%, anyways. And to the question of where I see the difference between art and design, and somebody, I got some questions from you. I don't know if these were exactly yours, but what's the difference between working for an OEM or a production car and movies, or in this case, the metaverse, because everything is unreal there? It's massive, right? Because that's, to me, the difference between design and art. Design, to me, answers real world questions, also in terms of material, safety, cost, etc. And art can be very free, right? There's no ergonomics involved. This doesn't matter how the crash stability is. It doesn't matter how expensive those materials would be. Materials can morph, float. So designing a car for Metaverse, I would actually put that more into the art realm than the design realm, and therefore be way more adventurous. So our first RoboCar, for example, we tried to, and yes, I have to correct you there, and your words were very nice, but it was obviously a team effort, and you can even start on the top there with our CEO, Dennis, who just had the vision to create that. So it's always also the question, who's the creator of these things, right? Is it the designer who draws it? Are it all the engineers who make this happen? Is it the CEO who said, let's just do it? It's hard to pin this down. So in the end, it's a group of people that have to meet at the right time, at the right place. And coming back, and Alan, making this less of a design review now of your vehicle, I want to use the time also maybe to speak more to our viewers and to others who might be interested in this field, is, how do I end up in these places, let's say, working for Roborace? And the simple answer to me is, it's somewhat being prepared for the unknown, or for being prepared for the absolute coincidence. You have to be at the right time, at the right place that you cannot prepare for to be there, but you can prepare yourself with your skill set and your interests and your education. And when, for example, the moment my path crossed with the path of the CEO who had the vision for this, I was ready to start the next day. And but I couldn't sit there and wait for this opportunity, right? So be ready for your opportunities. And you're absolutely talented. One other thing I might say maybe is also being advanced and forward thinking is maybe to not hop on opportunities that many others do as well. So for example, choosing Polestar seems to me like an easy way to go, because it's a very hyped brand right now on Instagram. They do a phenomenal job of doing the design challenge, and I love everybody at Polestar. I love what they do. I'm driving one myself, a Volvo. So, but for somebody like you or other young designers, as an advice, I would not choose Polestar. Maybe it's also a wink to choose a rival, or choose other companies that have not 10,000 ideas already on Instagram. Find the diamond in the rough where you make a difference, of like, oh, I've never thought of this brand could look that way or modern. We've seen this many times done with Polestar, and they established a design language, right? They have everything there for you to jump off. They did, I'm not taking away from your work, but it's more a conversation to make. you pretty much, by choosing Polestar, taking a lot of what they've done already, the clean colors, the yellow orange accents, the logo, the type of the language they have. If you choose a brand that nobody really, they're almost forgotten, you have so much more to show, right, from your creativity and your input. And Roborace, in fact, is such a case as well, right? We don't have any established really design language yet and strategies really. So that's a lot of fun there. But to sum this up, I'm blown away by your render technique. Your taillights look phenomenal. The glass transparency, and it's just a joy to look at. But keep pushing further.
Yeah, thanks
That's
a lot
super cool.
for that's nice feedback.
Alan, I have one question to you about your design. What are these elements on your back screen? Like, what is this on the back of your car on the window?
The plug-in of the electric battery. So you have you can see in the center module as well that it's really like just a big like a big plug, and Polestar
cool.
uses it like Daniel said to in their own kind of form language already to have these elements visible.
Okay,
so I wanted
cool.
to
Daniel,
take that as well. Wow.
Yeah, Daniel, what is your verdict? Are we taking this car to Metaverse and making this alive?
Oh, you put me on the spot here. Are we picking right now? Well,
yeah.
of course. Like, how would I say no now?
Let's do it. Let's be fun. Okay.
No,
so, Alan,
this is
your car goes alive on Metaverse.
Nice.
I'm so happy that people join us in this venture. So, Alan, this is thank you for your time and your love to the brand. That's cool.
Yeah,
cool. Thanks, Alan.
It was awesome to be there. But
yeah, let's connect to Frexa now. Thank you, Alan. Talk to you later. Frexa, are you there?
Yeah. Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Daniel. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Are we doing this now for 2 more? We choose right now if they go to Metaverse or not?
Yeah, but you can
That's
choose
very
everyone,
that's
you know?
very brutal. That's like
Of
The
course,
Voice or
that's the
something.
best, you know?
Like,
Of course, and you know what's the best? That we never talked about it before, so we have to do it live in front of the cameras, you know? So it's gonna be true choice.
I will never say no to anything. And this is okay.
Exactly. All right, let's wait for Frexa. Frexa, are you there?
Frexa, I don't know, but I'm here, Berk. Maybe there was a little misunderstanding.
Okay. Hi, Berk. Okay, so
Hi.
that's fine. Hello, Berk. How are you? How are you, sir?
Hi, I'm very fine. Thanks. How are you?
Star Wars. Yeah, you have your Star Wars flying ball to test your laser saber in front of you. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's here.
Well,
I also have Tron bike here. I also have your vehicle here.
Oh my
Berk,
God.
I think
even
we're
have Daniel's
friends. I think we're Instagram
I wouldn't
friends.
say friends. I wouldn't say friends. I wish. Of course, I'm a big fan of yours, but sometimes you answer me. Yeah, it makes my day. That's amazing to be live here with you. Like, I want to tell, in 2015, I sent you an email. I was on your website, just found this contact me box, and I wrote you about my portfolio. Like, it was 6 years ago. I was just a student, and you gave me good feedback on my portfolio. And then you told me, like, there's lots of good designers. We need someone with a new idea. We need someone like with a fresh mind. That's why also on this project, I decided to not make a car, but something more like a flying vacuum cleaner with the Dyson fans. So
do we have a structure to this? Are we critiquing and then choosing? I'm totally put on the spot here.
You go wild, Daniel. You can go wild. Do whatever you want.
Well, maybe Berk, as I mentioned with Alan, it's maybe easier also to keep a bit more, broader for everybody to feel addressed. But at the same time, look, your images just went away. Can somebody bring them back up to me?
Also keep in mind, it's from 3 years ago.
Which means you're on a parabolic design curve, which is great. Yes. So, well, I love, as you said, you went another route with cars. It's then with cars. it's a daily challenge, right, in our job too. How can we be different and make an impact, but not be different for different sake? Because that just creates nonsense, right? So practically picking because if we go online, we find so much amazing artwork, but how is this applicable to something? That's and I'm an admirer of art, but I'm working for Roborace, and an arrival in my daily job here is to create value for the company and create products that at some point also create revenue. That's what we're all here for, and not just have fun all the time. So bridging this gap is so extraordinarily difficult. But generally talking to your design, the quality of work is fantastic. How did you model this?
Back in time, it was Alias. I was using Alias. I was a designer in Ital Design, actually. While doing this, it was like a weekend project. Yeah, and now I would do it on Blender, actually. I also saw you are using Blender a couple months ago. You shared something.
Yeah, for 2 days, and then I went back to my job. It becomes increasingly difficult in your career to keep up with technology, with technology advances, and that's a challenge for your career. Whereas if you're in your 20s and you're just starting your path, you practically can still choose your tools. And in my time, about 20 years ago, this toolkit would not revolve. I would just choose whatever everybody used for 10 years. That was a good way to go. If you're young today, you have all these options and new tools come up every day, and it can be almost overwhelming. And for folks like me, I'm 45 now, it becomes a true challenge to divide your day up into your obligations and into staying with the flow. Because otherwise you become an obsolete dinosaur at some point, right? You cannot just keep praying your old ideas from 20 years ago. And you become maybe a family person. You have to watch for your family. You cannot just stay up till 1 o'clock every night, keep pushing like you did in your 20s. And you become a manager. Even if you don't wear a managing hat in your business, but everything you do in life becomes a negotiation. Versus me, when I did Cosmic Motors, an example, I didn't report to anybody. I just did fun stuff I wanted to do and didn't care about anything. And working with Roborace, for example, is a negotiation. If we want to make and is that okay? Like, I'm looking at your work and I'm enjoying it, but at the same time, I try to paint a broader picture maybe of where I am. So it's such a stark contrast between designing something for an Instagram post or for my Cosmic Motors world than doing it for Roborace, even if it gets compared, but it's couldn't be more different. Cost comes into play. Like it's working with engineers. We approach actually Roborace in an unusual way that we designed the car first and engineers then had to battle how to put the mechanics inside, which was kind of a fake paradise illusion. Now in the next, and we are paying the price right now. Robocar is very hard to maintenance. This one in the middle here, it's very high manufacturing cost, but it did a job and it set. It was like a megaphone. So I think the purpose of this project was being a megaphone and a ambassador for a brand that didn't exist back then. As a competition vehicle, it's too expensive. So we're designing a new vehicle right now that is hopefully as inspiring, but we're talking to our people who literally work on the cars, right? How hard is it to lean over and get certain elements out? The cooling is very challenging on this vehicle. So how can we improve cooling? And just cooling is a great example. Just getting from an engineer a frontal area surface for your cooling and combining this with your Hollywood sci-fi aspirations, that's when the rubber hits the road. Doing fantasy stuff for my own fun there's no limits. If I want a cooling intake to be this small and put it up there, I just come up with a fun story and explain what a cool cooling system this has. If our engineering team says, no, it has to have this size, no matter what you want to do. And you have to wrap your creativity around those parameters. I think this is, when true talent shows. And I struggle with this. I struggle every day. I run out of ideas, and that's what we have teams for, right? It's a back and forth. And now I'm getting a bit philosophical, but in your career, then it's also important to be sure of your weaknesses and find people around you that have those opposing strengths and build a team that as a unit is bigger than, it's, 1 + 1 is 3 kind of theory. So very poetic excursion here. Back to your design. You putting martini livery on it, you're getting my thumbs up. I'm an easy man.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yes, that works. There's great direction in it. I love directions, so you can kind of tell apart the front and back. I grew up in Audi TT times. This was a big milestone in design back then. But I think over time it suffers a little bit by being not clearly in direction. So there's something to that. I love floating surfaces, high contrast. If we had given you our cooler Roborace logo, it would look even better. Honestly, there's no. Since you're pulling a Red Bull livery on here, Red Bull does really good liveries, I think, and you could probably up your game there on the Robo.
If I knew one day you will comment on this design, it would be all different. It was just
I know it's hard to be, but this is another thing that happens in your career, right? You will be judged by most of your moves as unprepared as they are, and that loops back maybe to an advice I gave earlier when it's about how to get to a point in your career where you want to be. Is literally be prepared at any time, and the hardest choice to make is to not apologize for anything. I do this a lot myself, and I have to always be careful, like, oh, I only had so much time, or I wish I had known this. And this is a very natural behavior, and I have to train myself. It's important to give people context, like, I did this in 2 hours, okay? I didn't do this it didn't take me 5 years. The broader picture, but a certain confidence, generally speaking, is also pretty good. And maybe another thing that comes to my mind, since you say it's 2 years old, this is to me a good catalyst of finding a timeless design. My design language that I suggest for Roborace or other projects is arguably not the most advanced at any given day. But to me, it's like haute couture, right? I'm not willing to design something for the summer 2021 season and be super provocative just to know that it may fall off the taste radar 3 months later. So if I have the luxury, I actually work on projects over a longer stint. I push for 2 months if the luxury is there. I push for 2 months and let it sit 2 or 3 months and come back as a new person. Because we change so much, we read so much, the internet is changing our opinions every day. Come back to it 2 months later and think, if this is still, if I still feel good about it, there's something there. If it's like, this looks like 2 months old now, or done by a me from the past, I don't feel comfortable with it. And I think to me, this is a good trick to find timelessness, which every brand makes different decisions, right? There's very brands that look for this 5 minute of fame situation. I believe in timelessness, and the impact I think that Robocar did for us is undeniable. And for us, it's hard also to choose if we see, let's say, people being inspired by our Robocar. It's on one hand a compliment because it means we set somewhat a taste profile, but on the other hand, I think oh, come on, everybody. There is 10 million other ways you can do a autonomous car, Come on, show it to us. And that's so exciting to working with this company. So thank you for being part of this. Jacek, if you, of course, this goes into Metaverse. Are you kidding me? I don't know how this is going to work
we have
with your
another
whole, well, you tell me how much bandwidth we have. But from where are you calling
Metaverse,
us?
Excuse me?
Berk, from where are you calling us?
Currently, I'm in Poland, but when I sent you my email, I was in Turkey. I'm from Turkey. Then I went to Italy to do my master's on car design, and then I worked in Ital design for 1.5 years. Then I went to Design Storz in Austria. Probably you know Storz. And
Yes,
then I
Achim,
came
right?
to Poland. Exactly, Achim. We were talking with him also about you. It was great inspiration. And currently, I'm just doing my freelance projects. Yeah, I came to Poland because my girlfriend is from Poland, and I decided to be my own independent designer, like be my own boss. And now I do some online courses for other people. And I have my freelance projects like a little wood boat project, electric scooter project, and some robot project actually for a warehouse in Turkey for a startup company. So I'm having my own projects at the moment for different clients.
Very cool.
Fantastic.
All right, so we have,
Jacek, I have a 9:45. So if we could, can we still look at? Is it Frexa?
Yeah, Frexa. Let's go to Frexa.
Frexa.
Thank you, Berk.
Hey, Berk.
You were amazing.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. See you on Instagram. Bye.
That's right.
Hello, Frexa. Are you there? Hello, Indonesia. This is amazing stream, You are in Los Angeles, I'm in London, and Frex is in Indonesia. So we're actually connecting the entire planet. And
for the whole world to know, when Jacek says 10 minutes, it's always an hour. I know that exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, Daniel.
But this is fantastic. I love it.
I love it. Yeah, it's cool. Hi, Frexa. How are you? Hello. Oh, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Are you muted? No sound, no sound, no sound. Yeah, we have to wait.
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah. Like 20 years ago when I was starting the computer, it lasted like, I don't know. And doing the presentation, you have to connect the projector, you have to do all of this stuff. It never works.
So
and I was thinking, in 5 years it's gonna work, and it's not true. Yeah, tell me, sorry.
So they're sending us their 3D models, and we're going to convert them into feasible assets for Metaverse. That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing because right now in the Metaverse we have these static objects or dynamic objects that
we have Frexa. Sorry.
Design ourselves. Frexa, are you there? Yeah. Hello, Frexa. How are you? Can you hear us now?
Hello.
Oh, we can hear you. Oh yeah, we can. We have you. Cool.
Yeah. Hello, Daniel. Hello, Jack.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I'm your big fan.
Greetings.
You guys making me blush today. That's a good start of the day. Thank you so much. And it's fantastic to speak to people all around the world. I love it. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Very cool.
Okay,
Where are you exactly? In Jakarta?
Yes, of course. I'm in Indonesia.
Very cool. Tell us about your design a bit.
Okay, let's start it. I was thinking about what will be for future of Roborace in 2040. In my field of no need human help and anymore, which means why we still need any direction for this car, and maybe this appearance is closely looks like a device gadget. On the other hand, the car also needs emotion. First generation, from full autonomous to second generation, no full auto, but it can be a driver. And maybe a third generation also my design. Autonomous will half emotion robot. the head of robot is a core. So all movement and tracking and scanning will be direct by robot heads. For the shape of body, I tried to combine of modern surface and pass with wide slick for the front and rear body and creating a volume in shoulder and fender. Add sleek oval lamps below the front body. It can be a fog lamp or tail light. Because that's front and back body are same, there was a gap from fender to main body. Maybe it
All right.
can
Now,
be more
just to
easy to production. What do you think about my concept?
It's funny, I just talked about directional, and now you're making a vehicle that has no direction, which I also like. So this is fantastic. So let me ask you real quick again, where we think the driver is. It's autonomous, right? It's just a representation of a resemblance of a helmet, but
Yes, of course.
it's not a, yeah. I mean, the quality of work, I have to say it every time, is outstanding. That is out there. It's not only technology; it still needs the creative mind behind it and the person that has the passion and the time to learn those tools. So, Frexa, congratulations! Not only to your cool name, but also to your talent that you show here. Man, you have a startup company right in your hands there. Frexa is a brand right there. The idea that it can go back and forth at the same time is actually very cool for a robotic autonomous car. You know, a robot doesn't know what front and back is. He doesn't care. He needs a mission. I have to go this way.
Yes,
and the idea of turning a car around may seem at someday soon very old-fashioned. Of course, you have to double the mechanics from front and back because you need four-wheel steering. I would. Do you have that in your concept?
Not really, but maybe I will put it.
Because you know, if you go the other way, you have only rear wheel steering. Very hard to say, which changes the driving dynamics so much that you know it's maybe doable with softwares, but it would be just easier to literally copy all the mechanics from front and back. An engineer probably call me in 2 minutes. This idea, the front view is fantastic. A spontaneous idea, Frexa, I think you can still push much harder into the advanced direction. One idea would, for example, be it's hard for me to tell because, right, why not push it? Why not, for example, carving out volume? You don't have a battery package now and, you know, any hardware in there. Just go for it. If you could carve out volume underneath that helmet area where your number 6 is, and we can look through the vehicle and clearly see there's no way a person can sit in there. Creating autonomous. And I think that's an important message for the people out there. If we create these cars, for anybody out there, from your grandmother to a 3-year-old, say, I think nobody drives this. But as soon as you create volumes that allow for a person to somehow crawl in there, you still leave that doubt open. Maybe somebody's in there, right? So if you have all the freedom here, I would go full beans on making it absurdly open in areas so no person can be in there. That's maybe point one. I think your form language is maybe a little bit yesterday-ish. I think you can all taste, a matter of taste as well. But from some views, it maybe looks a notch a few years old, I would say. It's a bit of an helmet there. I really like that. That's really charming.
Yeah.
Play with graphics. I think just putting the 6 in there is maybe a bit shy for something as screaming and loud that we want to create for Roborace. So it looks maybe too elegant, I would say. But yeah, I mean, overall speaking, fantastic. The maybe more generic things I can share before we have to go is bringing this. This is already great. What you're doing here, the icons with the driver and the using strong symbols. But creating a story around your designs is truly important, because storytelling is one of the most powerful things in humankind, right? We not so much remember forms, and it's hard to remember faces and visuals, but a story sticks with you for generations almost. So if there's something to your designs that can tap into storytelling, that's very, very powerful. And try to step maybe more outside the convention how a car should look like. That's maybe the other thing I see. Your front and rear has it's advanced, but it's a very traditional automotive solution. You have a splitter, you have very conventional wheel arches, and don't get me wrong, we have that too on Robocar, but I'm arguing we had reasons for that because it had to work, but you can still maybe push a little harder here. And there is still an automotive aesthetic to it that I wish it could be pushed more. So think about aliens land on this planet here and look around and have no idea what a Mercedes is, or what Le Mans is, or what, any history. And you task them with designing an autonomous race car, they would probably not come up with anything that we do, because we have so much baggage in our brain of history. And it's really hard to separate ourselves from us. And I see too much legacy, how I would put it, in your design. It could be easily a Mercedes, or it could be easily Mercedes actually is quite fitting. Arguably, this could be great if you had in mind to make a Mercedes autonomous car. But I think Roborace is a convention, and it's easy to think maybe of the iPhone. The iPhone looks nothing like an old telephone. And it's an absolute cut in conventions. And we can practically achieve something similar with Robocar. All we need is 4 wheels. We don't need crash safety for a driver. We need aerodynamics, sure. But we don't need to convince anybody that those are real cars. So let's keep pushing harder.
It's actually my old project. So I'm curious about DNA of Roborace. Is any direction of this car?
Oh, excuse me. Can you say that again?
I'm curious about DNA of Roborace, Robocar. What have you done before?
What have I done before Roborace?
Yeah, I'm curious about DNA. Is it DNA of Roborace?
Oh, the
Direction
DNA.
design.
What makes Roborace? Got you. Well, we are live in the process of finding that, right? It's still a young enterprise, and we define some of it visually with the first car because it's our only tangible asset, which is another challenge. We're working so much, right? Yes, so much on Metaverse.
Yeah.
What is a tangible representation of Roborace other than apparel, the car, and maybe some giveaways, right? So we're searching. We're working on the next Robocar. We haven't shown anything yet. We're developing it right now. And I think we have really good ideas there. But it's less of a styling exercise like the first one was. It's more a functional exercise. How does autonomous racing really work? What do teams expect from us? How do we attract teams? That's literally the most simple question to join us. Make a car easier to maintenance, make it easier to service, make it easier to crash. This is an interesting point. Crashability, I don't know if that word existed before or if we invented it. We have no driver in these cars, right? Now, you could argue, well, could we dare more in testing because we don't risk human lives on safe tracks? We only risk cost. If we make those cars as cheap as possible, we can dare the teams to risk more. because only by finding the limits we can push the technology. So that's the advantage of autonomous racing, right? You can, instead of testing autonomous cars in, let's say, in Austin on the roads with real pedestrians at stake and their lives on the track, we can push. But if it's expensive to crash, we have a dilemma. So one good way of thinking of a robocar is, how about making it as cheap as possible and not as fancy as possible? Where should the sensors be to not be first crashed, you know? Where should the suspension sit to not be sheared off right at the first impact? Things like that. That's, for example, a good way of thinking, how could a robocar look like? Does it need to be mega fast? It's hard to watch on TV. The current F1 cars are faster than ever, and I don't feel it because the sound is missing. We have the same. We have EV drivetrains. A Senna lap in 1991 in Monaco and looks so much faster than a Hamilton lap in Monaco because the car is moving and it's twitchy and all that. How can we bring this into autonomous racing? For example, can the cars be too perfect? If the cars are too perfect, and you join us on Twitch in 2 years and you see the most amazing cars racing and they're like on rails, do we understand how clever the software is? Because it looks almost too easy, doesn't it? If we see the car sliding a little bit and catching a drift, wouldn't we think, wow, that was clever? How did the computer do that? But it happens at a slower speed. So is speed everything that's about, and downforce? Instability. That's how I would actually approach a design for a new car beyond styling and beyond high speed, etc. Yeah, because speed honestly is not the challenge. You can go as fast. You can go really, really fast, but going, you know, hitting a target, missing a target by a little bit, or catching a drift, or driving in weather conditions, that's much, much harder than just flat out fast.
Super cool.
Thank you, Daniel, for advice.
Thanks,
so,
thanks
of course, this thing goes into the metaverse, right? I mean, did you?
Yeah. Yeah, Daniel,
that's all I have
you
for
were
now.
supposed to say something. Okay,
Oh,
super.
I know,
Thank
that's
you,
all I have
Thanks
for
your
now.
time. Thanks, Frexa. Thanks for joining.
Oh
It was
yeah,
super cool. Thank you for the design.
Thank you for
Frexa, thank you
having
so
me.
much for meeting us, and thanks for dialing in.
Daniel, thanks so much for your time. Sorry, it was supposed to be shorter. It was longer. Thanks so much. I only appear whenever they open London. I come to Los Angeles.
I knew it's going to be fun, so this is great. Okay, can I? Am I hanging up and say goodbye?
Yeah, goodbye. Thank you so much. High five.
High five. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
My friends, see you next time. It was good to take you through the tour. Thanks a lot.
We can divide the many worlds around us into either real or virtual. How these two can merge together has become one of the key questions of the 21st century. Whether it's a head-up display in a pair of glasses showing you the way home, or a group of people meeting up online as VR avatars of themselves, we are constantly fusing ourselves into these different worlds. Robo Race is launching into this blend with their own metaverse. New for Season Beta, Robo Race has the ability to create virtual objects, events, and conditions on track, which the real-life autonomous cars will have to adjust to whilst racing. These might be walls to avoid or tokens to collect. They could be weather conditions the cars must consider. Speed. They can even be virtual cars suddenly appearing on track to compete against. The groundbreaking element of this all-new software platform is that it allows you, the viewer, to see these virtual objects and conditions on track together with the race cars in real time. So you're able to see what the AI driver is experiencing and how it chooses to react. The next stage of the metaverse is allowing you, the audience, to challenge the AI drivers. You'll be able to place the virtual objects, change the conditions, and directly influence the competition. You,